Good afternoon, everybody. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from Miter McLean, and I am here to guide you through an awesome Friday chill mind-body connection. We're gonna do some standing stretches. We're gonna get lots of spine twists in to just find some length in our spine, create some space between our vertebrae, and just help to free up and move our energy around so we can enter the weekend and enjoy it. We are going to get started in Savasana in just about 4 minutes. So if you have some time to just lay down and come into your breath right now, go for it. Grab some water so that if you need it, it's there. I'd recommend bringing a block or two as well. If you find that reaching the floor from a standing position, just hinging over, is a challenge for you, bring that support. Do whatever it is that you need and get ready to have a great time. Thanks, guys. Support, whatever it is that you need. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yay! Thanks for coming, Mary. Alright guys, it's 11:15, so we're going to go ahead and get started today. Laying down on our backs in Savasana. So take your time relaxing down on the floor or the mat or whatever space it is that you have created for yourself. I hope that you can easily hear me over the bump in air conditioning. How was I living life without air conditioning? I don't even know. I don't even know. All right. Feel free to bring those heels to touch and allow your toes to fall open. If this is creating too much stress on your back, as always, you can bend your knees. Find a little bit more grounding of that lower back into the mat even. Bringing your knees together in the lean. Take a gentle tucking of your chin towards your chest just to get as much of your neck and back and shoulders relaxed on the mat as you possibly can. And feel free to close your eyes right now. Taking this time to come into your breath, to just clear your mind as you prepare for today's class. Work to slow down both your inhale and exhale, and do your best to enjoy the longest, slowest, fullest breaths that you absolutely can. So truly expanding your lung and your rib capacity on your inhale, taking a moment even, noticing what it feels like with your lungs full before you completely exhale, taking a moment with your lungs empty. Do your best to get all of your stale air out for each breath, so every inhale can be a little bit lighter, fuller, and fresher. And every exhale, you just get rid of the old. Taking this time to just notice however it is that your body is feeling today, and inhaling in the awareness of yourself, of your body, and exhaling out all that which does not serve you. Just about one more minute right here in your relaxed breath. If you want to take this time to set an intention for your class, maybe your intention is to be as present as you possibly can for today's practice. Maybe you have someone or something that you're trying to send some positive energy towards, to just put that out there in the world. All of the spine twists today are really meant to create a little bit more length and space between your spine. Always working to create that length first so that our gentle twists can help create the space, which is meant to help our energy flow better. Take 3 more slow, relaxed breaths right here. And then as you're ready, you might want to take a little wiggle of your fingers and your toes. Just wake up your extremities. Start to walk your heels in. We're going to do some knees to chest pose. If you can, work to squeeze those knees in towards each other and keep your feet relaxed side by side. Take another little tucking of your chin towards your chest, maybe giving yourself double or triple chins. You can even roll a little bit from side to side. Find some relaxation right here. If you can grab hold of your opposite elbow, awesome. If you can't reach your opposite elbow, maybe you can grab hold of your other wrist. If not, just keeping one hand on top of each knee, finding a little bit of pressure, squeezing your knees in towards each other, and then a little bit of compression, pressing those thighs against your belly. Once you get here and you come into the stretch, the initial stretch, find how you can relax right here. So using your exhale to work to release your shoulders a little closer towards the mat, even drawing the shoulders away from your ears. Can you press your lower back and sacrum down towards the mat, keeping that stomach sucked in, still plenty of room in your diaphragm to enjoy some nice deep breaths. Let's take 3 right here. on your exhale, gently release any bind you have of your opposite elbow or hands and slowly relax your feet back down towards the floor, knees up towards the ceiling. Take a moment, just windshield wipe your knees, right and left, relieve any tension in your lower back. As you stretch your arms out towards the side, and we're going to come into our first spine twist. Dropping your knees over towards the right. You might even want to lift your hips up to come a little bit deeper into the stretch. It's okay if your left shoulder comes off of the mat. That's all just about what kind of range of motion we have, how your muscles and bones are set up. If you can relax and release that left shoulder to the mat and it feels good for you, awesome. If you want to have your shoulders on the mat and it's hard to get your knees down, feel free to place a block in. Once again, work to find a little bit of length through the crown of your head. Might find that you need to gently tuck your pelvis a little bit to find that length in your spine. And if you want an extra little twist, turn your chin towards your left shoulder. And once you find the stretch that works for you today, we're going to take 6 breaths right here. No need to go any deeper or twist any further, but still focus on creating that length as you can, space between shoulders and ears. A little gentle squeezing of your shoulder blades towards each other can help to increase the stretch on your back. On your next exhale, bring your lower back, bring those soles of the feet back down towards the floor. Might need to lift your hips up and gently start rolling towards that left hip. Readjust your shoulders however you need to, and as you use your exhale, relax and release the outside of the left thigh closer towards the floor. And you can keep looking in the direction of your left thigh and your right, where your knees are pointing, if that feels good on your back. However, if you want more of a stretch, start to pull those shoulders away from your ears. Find that little squeeze of your shoulder blades towards each other. Re-engage that belly as you turn and twist over towards the right side with your chin. And let's take 5 more breaths right here. Nice and slow. Working to slow that exhale down even longer than your inhale. Remember, relaxing your exhale can help bring about those feelings of calmness. Additionally, finding that one spot to focus your eyes, if they're open. And on your next exhale, slowly, gently relax and release your lower back, the soles of the feet back down towards the mat. Rearrange your shoulders as best as you need to, and then go ahead, bring your arms down by your side, palms facing down towards the floor. Next up, we're going to go for a glute bridge, so walk those heels in as much as feels comfortable for you. Go ahead, ground your heels, your big toe, your pinky down into the mat. Start to draw your belly button back towards your spine. Find that engagement of your abdominal core. Take a deep inhale, and on your exhale, lift those glutes up off of the floor. You can keep your arms down on the mat, pressing your back of your arms down for a little bit more support. Or go ahead, interlace those fingers together, just creating an extra little stretch, opening of the chest. Especially if you're stretching those knuckles down towards your heels. We've got 5 breaths right here. Keep making sure that you're grounding equally through your feet, not rolling to the outside or inside. A continuous squeeze and lift of those glutes on the floor. Make sure you haven't lifted up too high. There shouldn't be too much pressure on the back of your neck. Shoulders are still down on the mat.
On your next exhale, squeeze, lift those hips a little bit higher. If you interlaced your fingers, relax and release them back down towards the mat. And slowly, gently, one vertebrae at a time, relax your back down on the mat. And then once it gets there, go ahead, windshield wipe your feet right and left one more time. Let's take a nice little stretch of our hip flexors next, I believe. Sure is. Go ahead, keep your left foot down on the floor. Inhale as you stretch your right leg up towards the ceiling. Try and touch the ceiling with your toe. Find that extra little reach, a little engagement on the back of your leg. And keep that stomach sucked in, lower back down on the mat. And make some circles with your ankle in one direction, in the opposite direction. Normal to hear some crunching and cracking. Don't worry if you hear it too. And then go ahead, cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Make sure there's some room on the side for your ankle. Even make some circles there so that you're not pressing the outside of your ankle against your thigh. Once again, relax and release that lower back on the mat. Notice if you brought an arch to it. As you begin to gently stretch your right knee away from you. If your hip flexor is feeling really tight, you might even want to bring your hand to your hip crease and just kind of pat your hip like a cat or a dog. Just bringing a little extra warmth right there. Maybe even a little bit of pressure from your fingertips to stretch your knee down toward the bottom of your mat. Make sure you still have that stomach sucked in and abdominal engagement. Lower back pressed down on the mat. And you can hang out right here if you're feeling a nice stretch in that right hip. And that's all you need for today. If you want to increase the stretch a little bit more, feel it a little more towards the outside of the right thigh, go ahead, lift your left foot up off the floor. And you can let gravity just do the work here. Once again, finding that engagement of your lower back, keeping that lower back pressed down on the mat. And if it's accessible to you, you can either reach through and thread the needle to create a little bit of an extra stretch, or if you need to, place your hands on top of the knee if reaching back and grabbing your thigh is not your thing. Notice if your neck vertebrae came all the way off of your mat, mine did, and take that relaxation, once again tucking your chin towards your chest. Let's hang out right here for 3 more breaths. Inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly falls. One more time. Gently release any bind that you created. Don't let your legs fling, so abdominal contraction helps with that. Relax and release the left foot to the floor. Inhale your right leg back up towards the ceiling once more. Find that stretch. Try to touch it with your toe. And then relax and release your right sole of the foot back down. Pull that belly in. Keep your lower back on the mat. Inhale your left leg up towards the ceiling. Do your best to find that straight leg stretch. You might notice that it's harder on one leg than the other. Once you have the stretch that feels right for you today, make some circles with your ankle, maybe curling those toes in one direction, in the opposite direction, and then go ahead, cross your left shin over your right thigh. Make sure there's some space. Make some circles with your ankle once more. And then come into your stillness. Make sure you're still as relaxed on the mat as possible. So already maybe tucking that chin, pulling that belly in again, and just working to stretch your left knee away from you as much as feels good for you today. Again, the option to pick up your left hand and just gently help to warm up your left hip crease flexor. Maybe even using a little bit of pressure, not too much. Shouldn't be painful to stretch that left knee away from you. And if this stretch feels right for you, remember you don't have to do the exact same thing on both sides. Just honor whatever your body brings today. You can stay right here or work to bring that right heel off of the floor. Just any sort of lift will help to increase the stretch. Feel it a little more throughout that left leg. Option to interlace your fingers behind your thigh, or grab hold on top of the knee, and then relax and release the back of your head and neck down to the mat once more. Pull that stomach in, Lower back pressed down. Left knee still stretching away as that right knee pulls in. Take 3 breaths. Every exhale, notice how much more you might be able to sink your upper body down into the mat. One more. And then relax and release your right foot back down towards the mat, gently with control. Send your left leg up towards the ceiling once more. Find that big stretch up towards the ceiling. And then exhale your left knee down towards the mat. Once more, take an opportunity to just windshield wipe your knees right and left, right and left. And then either roll over to the side, we're going to press ourselves up, or draw your knees in towards your chest and rock yourself up like an egg to a seated position. Once you get here, we're going to kick both of those legs out cornerwise. Feel free to use your hands. Might even want to actually reach back and move your butt cheeks. Lays. I cannot talk today. Oh my gosh, legs open as wide as feels comfortable for you. Just start to find a little stretch of your toes back towards your face. If you need to, you can have your hands behind you, just working to find a little bit of a lift of your chest sternum, like a string is pulling you up towards the ceiling, helping to open your chest and engage your back a little bit. Pull that belly in. Still work to knit that rib cage together so there's not an overarching or splaying right here. Especially if your legs are tight, having your hands behind you by your hips can be a great support, but if you want a little bit more of a stretch, we're just going to stay active, lifted with our chest today, but feel free to bring those hands in front of you. Relax and release those shoulders away from your ears as best as you can, and let's take 6 breaths right here. Feel free to close your eyes. Continue to work to find some length up through the crown of your head. Make sure your chin is still neutral. And change. Maybe shake out those shoulders just a little bit. Let's take another twist right here. Go ahead, fold your left leg in. You're going to come into deer pose for this next twist. So the sole of the left foot comes by the right thigh bicep. Begin to lean towards that left thigh as you draw your right foot in as much as feels comfortable for you today. So a nice little stretch happening on the outside of your right thigh as well. Working to relax and release that right glute back down towards the floor helps to make some 90-degree angles with your feet. I find this a little bit more comfortable by bringing my heel all the way in close by my glutes and pointing my toes directly behind me. I'll just turn sideways so you can see what I mean by that if you've not gotten to do deer pose with us before. All right, so let's start off just lifted in deer pose, working to relax and release that right glute to the floor. In your deer pose, you might find that you do need to place your hands on the floor instead of on your thighs, and just using that exhale to bring that glute back to the floor. You find some length. Once again, lifting that chest sternum up towards the ceiling. Try not to collapse right here. We're going to work to take it a little bit deeper. So bringing your right hand behind you by your hip or the base of your spine. Go ahead, press your fingertips into the floor, pull your belly in, find a little bit more of a lift, and start to walk your left hand as far over to the right as you can. Feel free to apply pressure wherever it is that your left hand landed. To open and lift your chest, pull your belly in, keep those sit bones as grounded as you can, and on your exhales, turn your chin towards that right shoulder. Think about pulling that right shoulder back and left shoulder a little closer towards the front of the room. You might even take a little bend in your right elbow to feel a little bit deeper of a twist. Big twist, especially through the left side of your body.
Find a spot to just relax your eyes and mind. Lengthen up through the crown of your head once more. Take another deep inhale. And on your exhale, slowly, gently take your time and untwist. Remember, it might have taken you a couple breaths to come all the way into that twist. When you get there, bring your hands behind your hips. You can wiggle your feet a little closer towards the front. We're just going to windshield wipe our knees. And we're going to windshield wipe our way into deer pose on the opposite side. So walk your hands a little closer as you need to, and gently drop your knees over towards the right. Bringing your sole of the right foot towards the left thigh, exhaling to bring that left glute back down towards the mat. And you can stay in a little bit of a lean right here if you need to. Work to lift that chest up. If you can and it feels good, fold that left leg in as much as possible. Feel free to rearrange yourself the best that you can. Hands on the floor or on your thighs for support. Openness of the chest, engagement of the shoulders, knit that rib cage together, pull your belly in, find length from the crown of your head. Let's take 2 breaths right here, and then we'll come into our twist. Slowly, gently bring your left hand fingertips close by the base of your spine or your left hip. Press them into the floor, keep that lift going, stomach sucked in as you walk your right hand as far over as you can. Relax and release those shoulders from your ears. Keep that chest lifted. Use your exhale to slowly, gently turn towards the left. And feel free to use as many exhales, moving as slowly as works for you today. Drawing right shoulder forward. Taking a slight bend in that left elbow can help you to draw your left shoulder back. Take 2 more breaths right here. Lifting through the crown of your head, grounding your sit bones, keeping that stomach sucked in. And on your next exhale, slowly, gently untwist back towards the front. We're going to go ahead, kick our right leg out in front of you and fold that left leg in. Bring that heel as close as you can. And if you need to have it on the outside, a little outside of your hip, just finding what feels good for you today. Flex your left toes back towards your face. All right, and then you can either interlace your fingers right here by your shin to help find some lifted length once more, or use your elbow crook as we hang out for a couple breaths in half stump. Make sure you drew that right leg up first and not your left. Stump as well as wind removing is so good for helping to just stimulate the digestive organs, the ascending, the descending, and then the transverse pull in, but you gotta start with the right side and not the left, or else you can constipate yourself. Dun dun dun. And we definitely don't want that for the weekend. Make sure you still have that back active, chest lifted, pull your belly in, find a little bit length once more. And then change. Carefully come out, no flinging. Stretch your right leg in front of you, draw that left heel in, ground your left sit bone, and find some sort of an engagement or bind either with the crook of your left elbow or with both of your hands' palms, pulling on that left knee, lifting that chest so your thighs should gently be pressing against your belly, and it helps to have it just a little bit on the outside of that rib cage as well. Find that spot of focus with your eyes. Just keep breathing. Relax and release your shoulders away from your ears, finding length from your chest sternum, from the crown of your head. Take 2 more breaths right here. And change. Take a moment, kick your left leg out. You can bring your hands by your hips, bob your knees, windshield wipe your feet. Next up, we're going to come into a squat. If a squat really does not work for you, you can stay down on the floor and draw both legs in and just enjoy the wide-legged stump. But after whatever you do, we're going to come into a dingo. I'm going to turn sideways and be modest. All right, so drawing those heels in, you can lift yourself up. You can bring your hands in front of you. It helps to turn your feet at a 45-degree angle.
I have to work to wiggle my feet out to find the best place that I can get my heels down on the floor. If you really have trouble getting your heels down on the floor, it's okay. Just keep working towards it. Consider the idea of also using a blanket or a pillow or a folded up towel or something that you can place underneath of your heels. Or even using that block that maybe you brought today to sit your bum down on the block and then work to lift your chest, sternum back up. Still getting such a delightfully deep stretch in my hip flexors, which is what we're really focusing on. Nice little stretch happening on the back of my thighs. I'm still working. I'm just working smarter, not harder. But that gives me the opportunity to focus on my breath. So there's no shame in using these props. We're gonna hang out here for 3 more breaths. I'm just gonna come a little bit lower. Feel free to use those elbows on your inner thigh to help with your balance. And on your next exhale, bring your hands back down towards the mat. Pull yourself forward, lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Go ahead, heel toe your feet back towards each other. Keep those knees in a generous bend as you just dangle right here. Let's get a little stimulation in our wrists and actually bring gorilla pose into it. So lifting your toes up, you're going to slide your hands underneath of your feet so that the soles of your feet and the palm of your hands are touching each other. Back of your palms or back of your hands are down on the floor, and you can start to bring a little bit of pressure towards your toes to stimulate your hands a little bit more. Feel free to take as generous of a bend of your knees as you need to. Allow your hairline to hang heavy down towards the floor. Take 2 more breaths. And then release your hands from underneath of you. Keep that generous bend of your knees. Make it even more. Stretch your eyes and chin forward and your hands back behind you for skier pose. So palms facing in towards your thighs. Next up is chair pose. Inhale those arms up overhead. Weight comes more towards your heels. Exhale, bring your hands, palms to namaskar at the center of your chest. We're going to twist to the right. So bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. Bring a little bit more weight into your heels. Do your best to stack your shoulders on top of each other. Stack your elbows each other, taking a little twist here, turning towards the right shoulder. All right, from here we're going to lift up into balancing stick or warrior 3. So go ahead, come on back through to center. Stand up as you balance on that left leg. Send your right leg behind you. Send your arms in front of you, palms facing towards each other. It doesn't really matter how far you come down. Think about being in the straightest line you can possibly be. What am I touching? If you have the abdominal strength to come into a nice straight line, great. Take a nice deep inhale. And on your exhale, relax and release both of your hands down towards the mat. We're going to come into a half moon and a twist. If it's hard for you to reach the floor, feel free to put a block underneath of your hand. Hopefully it's still nearby. Stretch through your right toes as you send your right arm up towards the ceiling. If you're feeling super strong and balanced, you can even turn your chin towards the right shoulder. I'm going to keep my eye focus on the floor in front of me as that helps with balance to not move your eyes. And then we're going to bring our right hand back down towards the floor. Send your left arm up towards the ceiling. Take one more deep inhale. On your exhale, bring your left hand back down towards the floor. Bring your right leg down to meet with your left. Take another moment in this big dangle. Bend one knee and then the other. Feel free to bring your belly back onto your thighs. Getting some movement in your hips, shaking your head. Left and right, up and down, yes, no, just finding what feels good for you today. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side before we get to come down towards the floor again. We're hinged forward, so as always, make sure you really have that stomach sucked in. Always better to take this generous bend of your knee and really sandwich your belly on your thighs. So bringing your chin away from your chest can help decrease that rounding in your lower back. Just some things to think about. All right, we're going to come back into skier pose. So bring more weight into your heels, bend those knees generously. Start to lift your chest, send your fingers back behind you, shoulders pulled away from your ears, thumbs facing down towards the floor with your palms in towards your thighs. Keep that weight in your heels. Take a deep inhale. Send your arms up and forward. Gentle lifting of your chest. Hips go back a little bit more as we come lifted into chair pose. Take a deep inhale. On your exhale, bring your hands, palms to the center of your chest in Namaskar. Keep that weight in your heels. Inhale. Exhale, bring your right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Make sure you don't shift the weight too far forward into your toes. Do your best to stack your elbows on top of each other. Stack your shoulders on top of each other. Go ahead, take one more deep inhale in your twist. And exhale, turn back towards the front. Get ready to lift yourself up. Balance on that right leg. Send your left hand fingertips forward. Either palms together or separating your hands, palms. Find as much length as you can. Take a deep inhale. And exhale, relax and release your hands down towards the floor. Still stretching through that left toe. Start with your right hand down on the floor. Inhale your whip. Inhale your left arm up towards the ceiling. If you fall out, what do? You jump right back in. Really stretch that left arm up. Shoulders pull away from your ears. If you want to challenge your balance, you can turn and look towards your left shoulder. And then change, relax and release your left hand down towards the floor or the block. Stretch your right arm up towards the ceiling. Change, relax and release your right hand down. Bring your left hand down. Go ahead, bend your knees. Open your legs nice and wide. Let's send our hips back towards our heels. Walk our hands, palms forward, and take a moment right here in child's pose. Nice work from child's pose. We're going to pull ourselves forward and come on into Sphinx pose. So walking your legs back, getting your hands, palms flat on the floor, forearms down on the mat. You can open your feet as wide as your mat, pressing the tops of your feet into the floor. Maybe your kneecaps even lift up gently. Squeezing your glutes, pressing your pubic mound down. Work to lift your chin away from your chest a little bit and eye focused forward. We're going to stay here for 8 breaths, just 8 breaths. Work to really continue to squeeze those shoulder blades towards each other, shoulders pulled away from your ears. Big focus on the stretch happening in your lower back. All right, you can stay here for the next 5 breaths or push yourself a little bit more by pressing your hands, palms into the floor, lifting yourself up. See if you can still keep that belly button on the mat, shoulders pulled away from your ears, and even if you have your forearms down on the mat, you can always bend your knees and just work to stretch your toes towards the back of your head, lift your eyes up towards the ceiling. 3 more breaths from right here. On your next exhale, slowly, gently release yourself down towards the mat. Keep that bend in your knees or bring it if you hadn't already. And go ahead, just windshield wipe your feet right and left, right and left. Let's get a little bit of a stress on our shoulders here before we finish. Next up, we're gonna go for dolphin pose. So go ahead, press yourself back up to tabletop. We're gonna go ahead and bring our forearms down on the mat. And you can interlace your fingers and bring your hands palms together. From here, we're going to tuck our toes under. I'm going to tuck my shirt in for safety. Take a deep inhale, and on your exhale, send those hips up towards the ceiling. Think about spiraling your inner thighs towards the back of the room. You can always open your feet a little bit wider if you want to. Your heels don't need to come down towards the mat. If you want, you can even just kind of find a little bit of movement right here, pressing into the balls of your feet, moving forwards and backwards. Just having a little bit of fun. You can walk your dolphin, bending one knee and then the other, just pressing those elbows into the floor for 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, bring your knees back down towards the mat, bring your toes together, send your hips back towards your heels for another child's pose. And let's take a twist right here in child's pose. So go ahead, walk your hands as far over to the right as feels comfortable for you today. You can even send your right glute towards your left heel. So maybe your left glute even comes past your left heel, just creating as big of a stretch all throughout your left side body as possible. And change, slowly, gently walk towards the center, back over towards the right. And change back towards the center. This time, let's bring our arms into it. So take your left hand while you're down here, stretch that left hand away, take a little bit more of a twist as you bring your left shoulder, left ear down towards the mat, right arm stretched in front of you. Relaxing and releasing those hips as close to your heels as feels good for you today. Change, slowly, gently untwist, send your left arm back up towards the ceiling. Take your right hand, thread it right underneath of your left shoulder, palm facing up as you relax and release your right ear down towards the mat. Beautiful. Take one more deep inhale. And slowly, gently come on out. Pull yourself back up to tabletop. Let's come onto our bottoms. All right, one more stretch before we come into our final Savasana. As you kick your legs in front of you, go ahead, relax and bend at your elbows and place your forearms down on the mat. So elbows are about underneath of your shoulders. We're going to go for fish pose. So keeping your forearms and your hands palms down on the mat, open up your chest, stretch your chin up towards the ceiling, your head can gently fall back. Find a little extra arching of that back. Three, 2, 1. Gently tuck your chin towards your chest. Start to walk your hands out. Slowly relax and release yourself down into your final Savasana. Feel free to lift up your chest, get your shoulders as comfortable underneath of you as you possibly can. You can kick your legs out wider. You can open your arms wider. Maybe one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Whatever feels good. We're going to take the next 3 minutes right here, right now in Savasana. Find the most stillness that you can. Once again, coming back to your breath. Long, slow, deep, full inhales and equally full exhales, getting all of the stale air out with each breath so every inhale can be fresh and new, sending that freshly oxygenated blood right now throughout your whole body, allowing your awesome, amazing practice to just absorb, to continue to help clearing out all of the junk in our minds, in our souls, simply with our movement and our breath. If you notice that thoughts and responsibilities for the rest of the day are starting to creep into your head, even if they're fun things like, what am I going to have for lunch? Do your best to just clear those thoughts away right now. Come back to your breath. Finish your practice up strong, truly just focusing on the awareness of yourself and continued mindfulness of this moment right now. And everything and anything else can wait. I hope you're enjoying the beautiful stillness, and as always, you're welcome to relax in this Savasana for as long as you possibly can. If you're ready to close out your practice, either roll over onto your side or draw your knees in towards your chest. Take your time, use your breath once more to come up to a seated position of your choice. Bring your hands, palms together in Namaskar once more. Relax and release your shoulders from your ears as you drop your chin towards your chest and take one more moment to honor yourself. Did you meet the intention that you set for class today? If not, come back again. Try it tomorrow. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that we said or did today, as always, please know that you can reach out. Thank you so much for coming and filling your physical and mental cup with me so that you can share all of your amazing energy with others. Continue to think good thoughts, speak good words, eat good foods, do good deeds. I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I can't wait to see you guys all again soon. Namaste.